learned a lot about animals in the last 35 years. But none more than when I started vlogging. It's been over 2,222 days that I have been vlogging. But this place, the Reptarium, didn't even exist when I started. Winner, winner, or chicken dinner. When I first started the vlog, of course, it was all about BHB and breeding animals, which of course we still do. This is actually a ghost clown ball python, which is a hypo and a clown recessive mutation. It's just some male that's ready to breed this year that should definitely take that project to the next level. And that was what it was all really about, which, by the way, look at this. Really cool. What is it? Okay, I don't even know exactly what it is. Looks like it's a black pastel, which would be a black pewter, and then maybe an orange dream, and it's a feisty little monkey. But I taught you guys a lot about breeding snakes because that was what was going on in my life at the time. So obviously I shared all the kind of tricks and tips and showed all the cool things that we hatched out, like a dreamsicle piebald ball python. There's so many amazing snakes, but it certainly wasn't just about ball pythons. Of course, we had clubers, we had tons of other boas and pythons, we had leopard geckos, all that type of stuff. And that's what the daily vlog was all about, which, by the way, take a look at this. This is what they call a T-positive Colombian rainbow boa. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, it basically turned patternless in this really cool color. Hopefully these guys will be able to breed this year and we'll get some babies. That should be awesome. With the exception of the animals like RJ here, which is one of my pets. Where are you going, buddy? I love this guy. The majority of my animals were actually for breeding, and all of the information and kind of behavior and everything was really circled around how we could get the animals to reproduce. These animals have personality, way more than I could have ever imagined. And believe it or not, filming with the animals over at BHB really afforded us the opportunity to open up the Reptarium, which in turn taught me how much these animals actually have personalities and you can create a bond with them. And believe me, we learned a lot. One of the things that we learned is that anacondas can certainly hold their breath for a lot longer than we thought. We actually saw in Nat Geo, they said that anacondas could hold their breath for about 10 minutes. But we actually documented that anacondas can hold their breath for over 45 minutes while they're eating. Come on, there you go, girl. Oh, there she goes, and into the water she goes. She's finally... Since the time she took her last breath. You think at this point she'd want to climb up and take a breath, but the truth is now she may go another 4 or 5 minutes. And here she goes. She finally came up and took a breath. Look at that. Unbelievable. One of the things that we learned was that snakes and lizards can certainly be trained way more than we ever had expected. I mean, I had heard about target training, certainly saw a lot of different things online and stuff like that, but to get animals to do things like climb up your legs and go after a ball was absolutely incredible. Something that we never really anticipated that we could take it to. And to be honest with you, I think we can even go further. Come on down, Elvis. Come on, buddy. Do a circle, 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 circle. And then you just give him a treat. Hey, there you go. There he goes. He is such an amazing animal. And we have lots of plans for different training. I mean, we're just getting started. Come on, bud. We actually did a puzzle trainer with Elvis and a few of the other animals, even our armadillo, which isn't a reptile, but still something that I learned. And of course, we did the ball training with snakes like Night Fury as well, meaning that snakes and lizards can be trained on a level that most people never thought could actually be done. Yes, he's got another one. He's got another one. Oh! Oh! Now he's figuring it out.
Oh, he's trying to do 2 at once. Oh!
He got the one.
Oh!
Now he's getting it.
Get it, boy! Come on, buddy. You can do it. You can do it. I know you want those eggs.
We might have went from too easy to too hard.
Oh, he found it. Found the first piece. I wasn't sure if he was gonna do that. And he moved a couple more and he's just crawling over it. So now I hope he's got it turned on. His brain is gonna start thinking. This is amazing. And look at right back to it, right back to it. Back at you with my friends over at HelloFresh. You guys know that I love HelloFresh. And today we are about to get a little spicy. We're gonna do some 1-pan mango salsa pork tacos. What do you say we get cooking? You've got New Year's goals? And HelloFresh is here to help you achieve them. Skip to the grocery store and take control of your time and budget with delicious recipes delivered right to your door. Fast and fresh recipes, HelloFresh's latest latest line of meals features robust flavors and filling portions and are ready in less than 15 minutes. With HelloFresh, eating well in a new year can be stress-free and delicious. They have options you're looking for to help you achieve your goals. Choose calorie smart or carb smart recipes and even customize select meals by swapping proteins or sides, upgrading your proteins, or adding proteins to a veggie dish. The big game is right around the corner, and it's a perfect excuse to host and get together and tune into the game. Or be honest, the commercials. HelloFresh makes game time snacks and sweets easy. Treat friends and fans to delicious barbecued baby back ribs, chocolate chip brownies, and everything in between. And skip the snowy schlep to the grocery store and stock up on snacks, sides, desserts, and more at the HelloFresh Market. Simply add them to your weekly order and they'll arrive at your doorstep along with your meals. Go to HelloFresh.com, use code BrianB21 for 21 free meals plus free shipping. Oh, if you guys could only smell this. Every time they get me. And right now you can go to HelloFresh.com, use code BrianB21 to get 21 free meals plus free shipping. We learned that even absolutely beautifully tamed snakes like my girl Perdita can have a bad day. One of the snakes that I love to death and I'm certainly thankful of is this girl here. Come on, Perdita. Come on, sweetie. Wow, she got me. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, yep, that's a tasty one. The food bite is by far the worst bite you can possibly get. Oh, wow, is that hard? That hurts so bad. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to do here, guys. Ow! Hey, Mike! Yo, Mike! And don't get me wrong, she was actually in this similar spot when she bit me. It was totally my fault. She wasn't biting me out of aggression or even out of defensiveness. She was actually biting me because she thought that I was food, because she actually missed the food and grabbed my arm. Totally my fault. And I always say that even though I've been bit way too many times to actually tell you about it, the fact is every single bite I've ever got has always been my fault. It's never been the animal's fault. Even with an animal like Perdita that you think you can trust 100%, you still have to be careful because if she thinks you're food, she may strike at you. I think Salt is hungry. Of course, Salt is always hungry. What are you doing, girl? It's okay. No, Pepper, back, Pepper, back. Salt, back. You guys are absolutely crazy. Salty, relax, buddy. What we did learn is giving animals a lot of variety is important for their health. Ooh, I gotta get my feet away from there. She is in food mode for sure. And before this, I really just kept snakes, right? So you just feed them mice and rats. But we learned that things like alligators and lizards and tortoises need tons of variety of food. One time we even treated them with Wagyu beef and Salty loved it. This happens to be Wagyu, the most expensive steak on the planet. Oops, that's $30. Salty, you're such a good girl. Whoa. Calm down, girl. Starting to learn she's an alligator. Calm down, we're good. And one of the things that we learned is that these animals absolutely love affection. I mean, look at Tabasco, you know, it's cage defensive. And certainly I learned the hard way that if you test him, he's gonna reach out and grab you. Have my arm right here. I'm gonna show you guys really quick. For the faint of heart, you don't wanna see this, okay? That is what it looks like right there. But once he actually realizes that it's just about pets, he closes his eyes, he leans into the pets, he absolutely loves it, and he is such a puppy dog animal. It's really cool to have learned that after all these years that reptiles love attention. Tabasco knows me, and he knows almost every time I walk by him, I'm gonna give him pets. So he's like, hey Dad, it's time to pet. And watch what'll happen is once I close the enclosure, and sure enough, he'll start bobbing his head saying, Dad, pet me more. Look at him, he is so cool. That's his way of saying, I'm not ready for you to stop, give me more affection. Brillo, come here. Come on, Brillo. You know, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would even own mammals other than dogs or something on that line. But the fact that we have an armadillo and a sloth is amazing. And you could certainly tell how much affection he loves. I mean, he loves people. He loves me in particular. Every time I come around, he's all over me. Remember, that's one of the hard things when I show him to people is that typically he just wants to be all over me, hanging out with me because he's like, Dad, you always take care of me. And I always give him treats. Because let's face it, it's not that he loves me. He loves the fact that I spoil him. And how could you not spoil a face like this? I never even thought in a million years when I started the Reptarium that I'd be playing with an armadillo. And here we are all these years later, and it's just absolutely amazing. Can you imagine what's going to happen after the expansion? One of the things that was really interesting that I never expected to learn is that the animals really come alive when people are here, right? Because when people are here, they're often getting taken out, some are getting fed, so like that. So when people show up at the Reptarium during open hours, everything kind of comes to life, which is kind of opposite of most zoos, right? Most zoos, when you go to, the animals are hiding, they don't want to be around people. Well, here it's kind of different, and it's really cool. We're here alone now, and most animals are just chilling. I mean, Bella's right up on here, you know, everything else kind of hanging out. I mean, you can see the animals. Hoodless is up here just chilling, not doing much. He's often down here when people are around. The turtles are hanging out because they're not getting fed. It's that stimulus response, right? They know they're getting something, so they actually come to life. No more impressive than Lucy here, which I'm not sure it's a good thing or not, but the fact is that she always is just kind of hanging out here or down here. Those are her two spaces. She's almost always around. But once we're open, she actually always comes up and she's right here with her face right over here. And the reason for that is that oftentimes I actually feed her during open hours. So I don't know if it's a good thing, but she's associating people with food, which I don't know if that's good. But when we're not open, she's just her normal Lucy self. But as soon as people in the door, she's like, I'm gonna get fed. I'm coming up to the front of the enclosure. Come here, Bella. Come on, girl. Come on down. And one of the things that really is trippy is that we learned that some reptiles will actually come to their name. Bella being one of them for sure. Kitty and Dixie do it. Toothless does it. A bunch of our reptiles literally know their name, and you can just call them and they'll actually come to you, which is just super cool because you don't think of that when you think of reptiles. You think dogs will certainly come to their name, but reptiles, I mean, it's really wild how much I've learned. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Before I opened up the Reptarium, before we started the vlog, there was no way that I thought that I call a lizard by its name like Bella and she would actually come because she wanted pets. I thought there was just no way that was possible, and I'm so glad I have this opportunity to actually live it. One of the things we certainly found out when we opened up the Reptarium is a lot of snakes, in particular reticulated pythons, love to climb. They love that vertical, right? We always had them in enclosures that were relatively shallow and thought that the surface area was important, but you can see Al is always up top here. He's hardly ever on the bottom. We saw Perdita a little bit earlier, of course. Right over here, it's hanging out up in the tree, and we all know that Lucy actually climbs like crazy, and actually Al one time escaped, and when we found him, he was actually sitting right up here on top of Lucy's enclosure, so he climbed all that way. Now we always want to give at least some species a lot of vertical so they have a lot of climbing room. Now, to be honest with you, we also learned that Burmese pythons, although they'll go up and down like this, they don't really care to climb that much. So even if I put big branches in here, really Sunrise is going to want to stay in the bottom all the time. They're definitely more ground-dwelling animals. So these are things that we learned once we gave animals the ability to climb. We saw some of them used it and others didn't. Certainly learned that some animals literally love their home so much that they will go home on their own. Terrence, the black and white tegu, is notorious for it. We take him out, he runs around, and this isn't the only tegu. We've had a couple other tegus that have done the same thing. So it does two things. Number one, it makes me think that it's pretty awesome that they love their home. And number two, it tells me that they understand where their home is, which I think is pretty cool. But it's not just lizards. I think that there's this kind of conception that lizards are really intelligent, but snakes aren't very intelligent. We all know that Ivy is another one that if you put her out on the ground, she'll climb around and then she will literally climb up a ladder, and sometimes even without a ladder, climb back into her enclosure, which is pretty cool. And we've seen Lucy do the same thing too. So snakes are just as smart as lizards. They just don't have the same way of expressing it. First, I thought she was just smelling the stool. Like, what's the stool all about? And then guess what? She starts to climb the stool. I'm thinking there's no way in the world she's gonna do what I think she might do. Sure enough, climbs right into her cage and right into her water. I have never seen anything like this before. So I learned so much in the last 2,200 vlogs. Can you imagine what we're gonna learn in the next 2,200? Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, be kind to someone, and I promise I'll see you in the next one. Come here, Bella. Come on, girl. Come on down.